How's everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome back to another episode of Geeking Out, where we basically discuss everything nerd and geek related. I'm here joined by Lefty's Comics, who we tried to do an interview like I want to say 2021, but the file got corrupted.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was either 2021, 2022, somewhere around there, but it was at
Yeah.
I think what the last Metal Arc or anime.
Yeah, it was last year. So you may recognize them from when I do interviews with them and their partner Xeph at some local cons. So to begin, as always, first off, where did the name Lefty's Comics come from?
Yeah, so Lefty's Comics actually is pretty straightforward. I'm left-handed, and I'm very proud of being left-handed. A lot of people in my life have not a lot to be a majority, but there's a good handful of people who really discouraged me using my left hand, and I kind of said no and defiantly decided to be even more proud of being left-handed. So,
I mean, honestly, I think they're just jealous because you can draw with your left hand or and write with your left hand. I can't,
possibly,
I can't use my left like right because that's hard.
right.
Wouldn't that
Well,
be
it's
wouldn't that be called ambidextrous? No, is it would it be ambidextrous or am I
Well,
thinking of a different one?
ambidextrous is the ability to use both hands. So if you're able to write and or draw or utilize items in either hand, that is called being ambidextrous. I actually am ambidextrous in one specific way, and that is I forced myself how to use a left-handed mouse so that way I can use a left-handed mouse on my main computer. So actually, right now, I have a left-handed gaming Naga at my desk, and that's actually what I use for my main computer. But I can switch effortlessly between the two sides of the mouse. So if I need to instruct someone and I'm on the other side, it makes it easier for me to just go through and be like, okay, well, I'm just going to grab this, do this, etc., and then go from there. Because I do a lot of instructing at work and such. So having the ability to use both hands really is useful in the workplace.
Nice. So, how long I know this is quite, we're gonna be probably asking some questions that we asked prior when we did this a few years back.
No, go for it,
Um,
man.
how long have you been doing art for, and what made you want to get into doing art and also working on as a recent and animated series?
Yeah, so what got me started in art was just, well, I think it just goes as far back as me being able to pick up and color and draw and doodle as a kid. And so one of the things I remember is I would always draw on my homework. I didn't think normally in order to process things. I remember specifically my dad was trying to look at my homework that I did because, he was checking on me and stuff. And instead of writing the answers correctly, I turned all of the answers to the questions into bank heist members. And so they were all over the page, not even near where the answer should have been, because they were all trying to escape. They were all doing a bank heist. It was cool and they were stealing parts of the questions and stuff. And my dad's like, "Oh no." But from there, my parents really fostered my creativity, my sense of wonder. My grandpa was also pretty adamant at helping me make sure that I had my creativity fostered. He helped me with getting art supplies and things like that in a time where it was difficult for my family too. But yeah, it's kind of just always been there. I started early and continued to accelerate, but I never take that as a sign of I should stop learning because you should never stop learning. Everything I do, everything I draw, everything I am, my ideal situation is to continue to create and continue to foster that creativity inside myself and in others. So, long-winded answer just to say, I don't know. I like drawing and I've always done
And it
it.
sounds like growing up and doing this, you had a big support system, like you said, your parents, your grandpa buying you the stuff. to
Hmm.
get into this. So fast forward, how did you get into digital art?
So that's also a great question. I got into digital art because my friend Shar had a Wacom drawing tablet. Now, this is the kind that sits on your desk and then you have to look at the screen at the same time.
I've seen those. I know
Yeah,
like a lot
so
of like
so
animators and movies use them.
yeah, exactly. So it's not a screen-based tablet. It's a regular tablet on the desk, and then you have to look up to see where you're going. And I was like, you know what? I've been doing traditional for a while. I'd like to try this. And it was not very good. It did not end well in the sense that the piece was very much. I'll have to send it to you. It's on my DeviantArt still.
Oh,
But
dear, there's a name I haven't heard in a while.
oh yeah, well they've gone down the fricker. So anyway, I was really curious about it because my friend Shar had one, and I really wanted to try it. They let me use it and stuff in their bedroom, and I was drawing for hours. I came over there to hang out with them, but instead I ended up on their computer for hours while they did whatever they were doing. And so it was a lot of fun having that. Oh goodness, having that first time experience made me realize I wanted to try to get my own drawing tablet. And so I had gotten cheap ones, and I had gotten ones that were not necessarily great for drawing but got the job done. And eventually I just saved up and got my own drawing tablet at one point. And now I do both traditional and digital. I do a lot more digital than I do the traditional. But I still do everything by hand where I can.
Nice. So counting this year, how long have you been doing it all together, if you can remember like the years?
Oh God. How long have I been doing what? Digital art specifically?
Just art altogether, you know.
Oh man. I mean, I would say my first memory of doing art probably was when I was, oh golly, um, probably third, fourth grade, since I was drawing. And if we want to get technical, since I considered myself an artist, probably uh fifth or sixth grade. And so, that's 2006-ish till now.
So 20 years.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Nice. And what about the digital art? How long have you been doing that for?
Digital art, I mean, that started as soon as I went over to my friend Char's house. I craved to do it more, even if it was bad. And I would say that's been since probably sophomore year of high school. So that'd be 2010.
So about 16 years.
Yeah.
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 Nice.
I've been doing graphic design for roughly the same amount of time. I had a lot of opportunities to do things like MS Paint and things like that. And I think I had done graphic design, air quotes, graphic design, and digital art, air quotes, digital art, for with a mouse for longer than that because my stepdad was a computer engineer, and he worked for a place called Mighty Net at the time. And he had some really good computers, and he had like state of the art equipment at the time. It was probably Windows XP or Windows Vista, but we had a lot of fun um, nurturing that too because my stepdad, just like my dad before me, really wanted me to continue making art. He didn't want me to do anything lame or boring or bog standard because he knew I was different, and he wanted me to continue being different. He in fact was inspired by my art that he started doing art, which was
Oh,
interesting.
nice.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
definitely it definitely runs in the family. You know, he saw that you were passionate about it. It's like, hey, if this is something you want to
mhm,
do and continue, let's
yeah.
find the means to do this.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings me to a side question.
Mhm.
For those who are wanting to get into art and are on a budget, what are some recommendations and advice for those who are wanting to get into digital art and wanting to try to find a decent, whether it be tablet, art tablet, stuff like that?
Sure. So we'll start with the first version of the question. People who want to get into art, um, just pick up a pencil, man. I mean, it doesn't take, it doesn't, it's like exercise. You just have to do it or nothing's going to change. It's like the clothes sitting in the corner of your room. You just have to do it or nothing will change. The
I mean, that is like a very valid point and very
Yeah,
true.
but people are intimidated by doing anything, especially now. And there's this weird argument right now that is total dog water, hog water, whatever it may be. That I'm they say disabled or I'm unable to do art because the X, Y, and Z, and I definitely believe that there are some people who have a harder time getting started than others. But I will point out that anyone is capable of doing anything. They just have to they just have to need to do it enough. And if they are given a reason not to, of course they're going to take the path of least resistance. If you don't have to do the math for something because you can just pull out your phone and do the calculations on your calculator, then why won't you just use your calculator? Like there is a certain level of needing to nurture and foster the creativity, because if you don't do it or just don't want to do it, then you're obviously going to, you never were to begin with. Same thing with piracy, some people who weren't going to buy the game in the first place, generally, there's a lot of people who will pirate games, not because they're having hard times, though that is a good reason to, regardless. But a lot of people will just do it because they weren't going to get it to begin with. They're adding to their own collection. But there is a lot of times where that leads to sales. So that's not a good example for this. But the idea is, going back on track, the whole idea is you just need to start. And you break it down into chunks. If you're drawing traditionally, which I think everyone should start traditional rather than digitally, you are learning how the paper feels under the pencil. And the same thing applies to writing, right? You're learning how to put the pen to the page, and you're learning how shapes work, and you're learning how these forms make a different form. And it doesn't matter if your art is bad, air quotes, bad. The fact that you made it means that it's valuable. It means that you put work into making it. Sometimes I look at pieces that I have and I'm obviously not as satisfied as I could be, but I'm still proud of myself for making what I did and having the foresight of knowing that every time I do something, I want to learn something from it, makes it even more valuable after I've made something. What did I learn? What did I learn that I didn't like? What did I learn that I did like? What did I learn that I can change in the future? That sort of thing. For people wanting to get into digital art, that's a little bit different because while I definitely think that you should start with traditional work and you should start with a pencil drawing, maybe doing graphite, charcoal, or pointillism, digital is a whole different bear. I would also say that you need to learn that when you're doing art, art is subjective. And when you're doing any medium, your style is going to vary from someone else's. There are people who do paint pours, and those people consider that their art, and that's fantastic. There are people who do traditional sketches of hyper realistic people, and that's the art they think of. Or there's people who are like me and mostly focused on cartoony style caricatures. Well, not caricatures, more like characters. But while I can do realistic, it takes me more time to. And then there's the surrealists, people who make things that are abstract, and that is their art. And so when you're getting started, you should follow the three principles of: you will learn something, You need to do it consistently, and you don't look at other people as a comparison, but as what can I take from them in terms of stylistic choices? How can I improve based off of what I see in front of me of my own art and what I see in front of me based on their art? Don't compare your current art to that person. Compare your current art to yourself, to your self reflection, to what you're doing, and then look at others for inspiration, not comparison.
I wholeheartedly agree. And also, like you said, anyone can do it, and with that whole thing with, well, I can just use AI. Like, no, 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 no,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Nope.
You can easily learn like watching YouTube videos of artists or watching Bob
Mm-hmm.
Ross or something.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, and I think it's a day at a time. It's an hour, a minute, and a second at a time. People who say they don't have time to learn it, you have to find where your value in deciding to make things comes in. Do you actually have a value in human art that you made, or do you have a struggle in terms of your time management? Again, everything's about learning. And if you're going to default to say, I'm going to use AI, then you're admitting defeat before you've even tried to
Oh,
run the race. And using AI is not just damaging to your own creativity, but damaging to, the planet, communities, people as a whole. We're not here to talk about that, of course. I have very specific opinions on that, but I'm very anti AI. And I feel like human creativity deserves to be protected. Because if you outsource your thinking, just like you did with your mathematics skills, then it's going to cause more harm than good. And it reminds me of Star Trek a little bit, where the scientist or the doctor will be like, computer, run this simulation. Okay, add this parameter. Okay, add this parameter. Uh-huh. Okay, I understand. Add this parameter. And then suddenly the computer's done all the computational power, and everyone's like, oh my God, so and so, you're such a genius. And it's like, they didn't do anything.
it was a
So
computer.
it was the
It
computer.
was a
So,
machine that did it.
yep.
Oh.
So calling generated images art is unfortunately something I don't stand by. Call it what it is, generated imagery, because it wasn't created by something with a soul.
No. Let's see here. Now,
Sorry for the tangent.
oh, no, 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 no. I always ask artists on their opinion because, this is art, whether it be for filmmaking, video game, stuff like that, I
Mhm.
feel like people should be allowed to express their opinions. Um, so next one, what's been like working with your partner Zeph when it comes to working on the art, the projects you've been recently working on, and boothing together at conventions?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, no notes, I guess. I've been working with my partner for years now. The first convention we did was Medford Comic Con. Man, when was the first Medford Comic Con?
I
That was
heard the
forever
first I
ago.
heard the first man for Comic Con was like 2015, 2016. That was like at a small place.
Yeah, it was outside the library. It was a time. It was our first outing, and it was interesting. Maybe I'll send you
I think that's
pictures and
I think
stuff.
that's where I met you, and yeah, I think that's where I didn't meet you, but I saw your guys' booth outside.
Yeah. Yeah, we were outside. There were some people inside the library, etc. But yeah, I mean, working with my partner, it's yeah, I mean, we have our what we do down to a science. We know who's doing what when it comes to setting up the booth. Now, of course, there's some times where it gets a little scrambled because either we forgot something or because every convention you need to forget something. That's the monkey paws curl. But either we forgot something or maybe there is a difference in what we expected versus what we got when we got there for table layouts and things like that. But we have an easy time adapting. Um, and working with Sephoria is um, one of the best opportunities I have in my life because I'm so grateful to the ability to understand and know and basically I get to know where their head's at and they get to know where mine is. So we kind of have an easy time clicking together.
Nice. And it's always a pleasure seeing you both at con, seeing your guys' booth and everything.
Mhm.
I always gotta stop by and say hi or conduct an interview for convention showcase and everything.
Sure thing.
And I know they also have their stuff like their Twitch stream with their VTuber and everything.
Yeah, no,
They made their own VTuber, huh?
yeah, and actually, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but they're working on their 3.0 model right now,
Ooh.
and they're pretty close to being done.
Well,
But yeah,
well,
they love their
that's a
movie
geeking
too.
out that's a geeking out exclusive.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully they get to release that model soon because, gosh, it's so good.
Oh,
They
I can't wait to eventually see it, whether it be on Twitch or at the con.
Right. The physics that they have going into that model is so insane. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah, I really love the detail that they put into it. And that's the thing too, is I get to work with and spend time with my partner, who is an incredible artist, and I consider them a much more talented artist than myself. And I look at their stuff, and I'm always looking at how they do their lighting or their shading or their the way that the characters have specific poses and stuff. And I'm always like, man, I want to be able to achieve something like that someday because they're fantastic, and I feel like hopefully someday you get to do an interview with them by themselves. So
Oh yeah, most likely we'll be able to. Real quick, what is their Twitch so people can find them when they do their streams and everything?
that's a great question. I have it to where I can just click on it from my homepage on my phone, so that way I can just pull it up real quick. I think it's oh God, hold on. I think it might be just twitch.tv/Zephoria. Let's see here, twitch.tv/Zephoria. Yep, twitch.tv slash Zephoria
I will
with
have you send me the link for that.
Xephoria. It's not a Z at the beginning. They've been playing a lot of Hundred Line.
I don't know what's it called?
Hundred Line. It's
Oh.
a game by the creator of. I think it's the creator. One is the creator of Danganronpa. The other is the creator
Oh,
of. Um, oh God,
oh,
Zero Escape.
yeah, I it definitely gives off yeah, I'm looking at it right now. The Hundred
Yeah.
Line Last Defense Academy, it definitely gives off Danganronpa meets
Yep.
Persona.
Yep. It's kind of got a little bit of that. So yeah, it's a great time. It's got over 100 endings. So
Oh yeah, I believe it. And speaking of Danganronpa and well, Persona, they're coming out with the Persona 6.
hey, no spoilers. We're waiting to watch those trailers until they've returned.
I just saw the an announcement thing. I haven't watched the trailer.
Yep.
I still need to finish Persona 5 one of these days.
Do it. Do it. It's
My
you won't regret it.
my attention span, like I like long games, but like oh my goodness, when games like that is like okay, I need to like have like a couple days off. Make sure
Right.
my house is clean.
Have you played any of the Yakuza games?
Oh yeah, God, what was the last Yakuza game I played was like a was no oh, it was the something with the name.
Infinite Wealth, which was the eighth one.
Yeah, that was the last one I ever played. No, not Infinite Wealth. It was The Man with No Name or something.
Oh yeah, with the man who erased his name.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
that was the last one and I know that the most recent one they came out with is the pirate one.
Well,
Pirate
no,
Yakuza in Hawaii.
Yeah, nope. The most recent one that they released actually was Kiwami 3, or did they release it? I
Oh,
think they released it.
I think yeah, the remaster for Kiwami. Let's see, recent.
Yes, Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties.
Yeah, Kiwami 3 and yeah, that wow, yeah, most recently.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're making more, and they're making another game that's, kind of like Yakuza.
Yep. It takes place in the same universe too, and it's Stranger Than Heaven.
Yeah, that one. It
Yeah.
looks good. I like games like that. But again, those are like the
Right.
games where it's like it just like freaking Shinmue, it so takes so long.
Yes,
Which is
there's a lot going on.
which is another good game. But
Right.
Jesus. Um we talk about other stuff on Geeking Out, not just
Yeah.
what the topic that's being pertained to. I guess now let's talk about some of your art pieces. What has been your favorite art piece that you've done? Like it's like, you know, yeah.
That's a hard one. What is one of my favorite art pieces I've done? Um, I've got a lot of thoughts about that. But I would say that if I'm going to play it fair, I'm going to call it the animated pilot I'm working on as a whole.
Oh, monochroma.
Yeah, so I've been working on my animated pilot, and the Kickstarter just ended. We got successfully funded. Late pledges are open until
I saw that.
Wednesday.
Congratulations, by the way.
I know, I'm so excited. Yeah, I've got late pledges open until Wednesday, so if you want to back, still have time. Don't know when this is going out. Probably sometime at one point.
This episode will be out on Friday.
Okay. Well, if the late pledges are no longer open, sorry guys.
You had to have been
So
there.
you had to been there. Oh man, you had to be there. But no, the I would say that has been kind of, my swan song. If I were to give word to one, the animated pilot has a lot of moving parts, which requires me to collaborate with a lot of people. And in that sense, the collaboration itself is also art. And I feel very happy to be able to work on something like this. Making an animated pilot is no easy feat.
Oh no, it's
There's
not.
there's so much that goes into it, especially when you are as ambitious as I am, because I want to make it a 22-minute feature length, basically,
Ooh.
episode. Um, the 22 minutes is, over 400 pages of storyboard, and there's a lot of things to do. At best, will be done by next year. Yippee!
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. There's been an influx
Mhm.
of indie artists making their own animated shorts. Like a good
Mhm.
example would be Cass Vanderpool. He just made one called The Gnome Show, which is hilarious, which is pretty hilarious, but
I gotta
really cool.
check that out.
Yeah, it is like I have to give props to these artists who are wanting to make their own animated shows, like
Mhm.
and I think people also need to realize there's a lot of work, not just a lot of work, but a lot of like financial work
Mhm.
too that goes
Yeah.
into, when you especially if you want voices or you need more
Mhm.
artists and stuff like that.
Right. Well, and I am currently, we casted our entire team, or our entire character roster. There we go. We casted the entire character roster. We are working very closely with each of the cast members. We've already done all the dialogue recording. Currently, we're adjusting the pacing in the final cut of the episode, or not the final cut, the rough cut of the episode. And there's a lot of areas where we're just taking it piece by piece, and we're making each section feel feel more grand. And as the person who's in charge of not only the lead animation, but I'm also in charge of directing and everything, there's a lot of moments I'm finding myself like, I don't even know what to tell some of the additional animators I've brought on how to help.
Oh,
what instructions do I give them? Yeah, I've been a director before, and I've done project leads, and I'm pretty comfortable in my leadership skills, but this is something entirely
oh,
new.
this is probably
Um,
like also the biggest this is also, which brings me to my next question. This is probably also the biggest and hardest project you've ever done too.
I would say yes. Hardest, maybe not. Difficulty is, I think difficulty being subjective. Um, I think that the hardest part is the anxiety of, what are people going to think? How do we get this to people? How do we get this publicly out there? How do we tell this story and get enough people to hear the story that it makes sense for all of us? And I just have to remember that it doesn't have to reach a million people. It just has to reach the whole team and maybe some family members. It has to reach enough people just to say, hey, we told a story and people saw it. And that's it feels good to do that. Um, but obviously, I would love to see this go even further than that. If I had the opportunity to, I'd talk to publishers and or producers and stuff like that to see if there's anyone I can connect with. But with some skepticism, knowing how certain places like Amazon or Paramount work when it comes to their
Mm.
partnerships, I'm very wary of
Oh
those.
yeah, because a good chunk of the time they will want to take almost a good chunk of control.
Yeah. And just like any creative, I would rather not relinquish control to a bunch of executives. They don't have the sense and the story and the idea of what I'm trying to tell
Oh,
here. And that's kind of important, is that, you know, indie does not always mean broke and unable to afford to eat. Indie can mean the you know can mean you have money, you've been sponsored and stuff, but you have to remember when you're indie, you have the opportunity to keep full control, or sacrifice some of that control to gain financial stability. It's a tightrope walk.
oh yeah, no, I mean it's definitely a double-edged sword. Like on the one hand, yes, like Amazon and all that streaming services would help, reach out, but on the other side is like you're also giving partial control to your project that you're working on, and that's
Mhm.
always just like, do I really want to do that?
Right. Well, and especially with rumors of certain creative studios forcing their animators to use AI in their creative process, I'm just not here
Hmm.
for that. It's very yucky. So,
No,
trying to do what's
no.
best.
Maybe someday there will be an indie streaming thing later down the
Hmm.
road. And I honestly I've noticed like a lot of indie studios have definitely been put in, like indie video game studios, indie film, indie animation studios have definitely been becoming more popular
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
it's like they want to do their own thing. Even like your well-known YouTubers, they're wanting to make their own films without, Hollywood putting their prints ever on everything.
Hmm. Oh yeah. Well, and
And
I see the success of indie creators, and I go, it is possible. You have to think it is possible. It is no longer 100% about, it's not what you know, it is who you know, because there's a breakthrough happening right now.
yeah, oh no, I agree. Also, real quick, if y'all are interested, I highly recommend checking out my interview with one of Monochroma's voice actors, Lacey Deline, on the channel. Link will
Oh
be
yes, please.
link in the description below, and we do talk a bit about Monochroma as well.
Sweet.
I
Oh
mean,
man, yeah.
give credit where credit's due, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Oh
the
yeah,
and that's the
Lacey has
important.
been so fantastic to work with. Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to cut you off
Oh
there.
no. I know they were great to talk to. At con and doing a full interview with them on the
Hmm.
channel. So,
Yeah,
not only
that's
was
super
it to
cool.
talk about them, but also to talk about, I gotta give shout outs to where shout outs are due.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if people want to learn more about monochroma, I'd be more than happy to have them check out our website. People can go to negativegrass.com. That's negativegrass.com.
I will definitely put I need to get better at putting links in the description.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Or people, or if I forget, people can turn on this on the closed captions if they
Oh
want.
yeah, there you go. That's also
But
important.
I will also put links too. Let's see, got probably like got enough time for like two more questions. What kind of impact has this had on you as a whole? Doing, the art, the projects. I know you even did like a board game too, I believe, not long
Mhm.
ago.
Yeah, so can you rephrase the question a little bit? Do you
I,
mean like
I,
what
I,
has
I
this had?
yeah, as like what kind of impact has this had on you as a whole?
Okay. The I would say, are we talking specifically about the pilot or about being an artist?
Just being an artist in general and all that stuff, like the stuff you've done over the years.
I would say being an artist is very fulfilling if you allow it to be. One of the things that I'm concerned about constantly is not nurturing my creative side enough. And that can be true for anyone. And so I've recently found myself between a rock and a hard place. But I think I have my vector set to lead me through the storm, but right now there's a little bit of strain. However, it's a good kind of strain. Um, I think I'm going to be able to fulfill my needs very soon in a bigger way than I have in the past. And I'm hoping to, when I settle into that version of myself, I'll be able to continue to grow and grow better and grow more than I had in the past. Overall, being an artist, I would say, has been the highlight of my life. Aside from, working with my partner and things like that, I feel like being an artist has given me a unique perspective that other people wouldn't have. Same thing could be said about retail work, being customer service oriented, being leadership oriented. I think that I combine all these things to make something that is uniquely me, I guess.
No, that makes full perfect sense in all honesty. And I'm glad it's had a positive impact. I mean, yes, I mean, I'm sure there's been the trials and tribulations, the downside that
Mhm,
I mean, and I think people need to realize being a creative, there's always also be a downside to being a
mhm,
creative.
mhm,
But if you focus more on the good than the bad, then,
mhm,
and that could be said with like, content creating, any type of creative work,
mhm.
there's always gonna be a downside.
Yeah,
Let's face it.
absolutely. Yeah, I totally get that.
Let's see here. I think we talked about it a while back. You also worked on a comic that was about Half-Life, or was it Halo?
No, so I had oh goodness me. Yeah, so I had back a long time ago made a fan comic for Halo. You can't find it anywhere online. But it wasn't just a fan comic for Halo. I made a fan Red versus Blue comic series. And this was just
Oh, I love
for
Rush.
me.
I love some Red versus Blue. Oh,
Me too. Me too. Bernie, we're waiting for you to show us what you're planning on doing next. But so the whole thing was a fan red versus blue comic. I think I had like over 100 pages. It was all hand drawn too on paper. And so I had this long running series.
if you
But
have like
again,
if you have
it
like
was
picture
only for me.
if you have pictures or anything, like please, I would love to see them.
If I can find them, I will, but I didn't have a phone at this time because I drew it over the course
Ah,
of middle school,
gotcha,
basically.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, so this
Got
was like middle school to freshman year of high school is how long I was running with it. God knows where that comic is now. I had also made red versus blue trading cards back in the day too. That
Ooh,
was a lot of fun.
I
Um, Sorry, go ahead.
I also know you did a D&D plush line stickers, I believe, or keychains.
Yeah, so I've been doing so some of my art includes my D&D class pins, which basically have different plushies as the different classes. So you have, cleric, bard, barbarian, sorcerer, etc. And then I also have my tabletop game that I was working on called Create a Companion. Sorry, was working on. Am still working on. I've got some kinks to work out and stuff, but the um the premise of that is you're building plushies and stuff, and you're creating these little characters, you're helping customers, etc. It's basically Build-A-Bear Workshop in a D&D setting. It's a lot of fun. I had over 50 people play tested at Toon Fusion. That was really cool. I really, really enjoyed that.
Nice. So last question.
Mhm.
Any last minute advice you want to throw out there for for those who are listening and are watching this?
Advice, huh? Can be about anything.
Sure.
Well, I guess my advice still stands. Nurture your creativity. Don't let yourself become crutched by the people who say that something is inevitable, because inevitability is pushed by the people selling the inevitable product. So if you're wanting to be creative, pick up the pencil. If you're wanting to do something interesting, pick it up. I would say that if you're someone who aspires to be a writer, start writing and never be afraid of feedback. Always try to learn something from whenever you are doing anything. Doesn't have to be a big lesson. It could be, oh, the lighting doesn't look right here. I learned that that's because the shadow doesn't cast that way. Or it could be something as simple as I learned that I don't like the way this paragraph works because the placement of the comma or the word I specifically used before the person started speaking just didn't add up. It can be a little thing like that. Doesn't have to be big lessons. You don't have to make a huge statement out of it. Just try to learn something every day by being creative every day.
That that's honestly good advice and answer some other questions I had.
Sweet.
So last but not least, where can people find not only you on social media, but again, where can people find Xeph on social media to save your guys with your art,
Yeah.
cons, projects, all that fun and exciting stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you go to, let's see here. So you can actually get both of our socials by going to leftyandxeph.card.co. Card is spelled with two R's. And so I have my section, which has my website, my graphic design portfolio, as well as other links and socials and things like that. Zephoria also is on there with their website, their Twitch, and their other social links and such. But you can find that pretty easily. Again, it's Lefty and Xeph with an X dot card with two R's dot co.
And
And
I
I'll
will have
give
you
you the
send.
link
Oh
for
yeah,
the
feel free to send. Feel free to send it to Instagram. Then I can just save it, and when I put the description on my phone when it's uploading to YouTube, because it's an easy way for me to put the descriptions and stuff in. Um,
sounds good.
Again, Lefty, thank you so much. I'm glad that this one finally worked, and fingers
Yeah,
crossed, knock on wood, that I will
knock
not
on
have
wood.
to see, oh, this thing is corrupted. Like, no, 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 no,
No, no.
because trying to schedule these interviews is not always easy.
Right. Maybe I should have started a backup recording. Oh well.
I'm not too worried. Um, well, I think that should do it. Again, Lefty, thank you so much for coming on. Can't wait to see
Yeah.
you and Zeph at some events and everything,
Mhm.
and hopefully someday potentially collab in the future for a project.
Yeah. Would be really cool.
Again, thank you. And as
Yeah.
always, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Until next time, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and shout out to those who follow and support the channel.
Bye.